It is 66 days to the presidential and parliamentary elections. Hello, good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Coming up, more labor unions unite to lay down their tools indefinitely to put pressure on government to declare a state of emergency on Galamsey, with the latest group being GPRTU and the Concerned Drivers Association serving notice no car moves on the 10th of October.
All GPRTU nationwide will lay down our tools. Nobody will work until otherwise. On the 10th of this very October, no vehicle is moving. We will sit down and demonstrate. We will not let any petrol or long-distance vehicle move in the country.
We'll hear from the Trades Union Congress, which says 24 hours after that declaration of a nationwide strike, government is yet to reach out for any form of negotiation.
No, not any that I have seen, and I'm not sure any of our leaders have seen anything. They have not communicated anything personally to me, but if they have done so with other leaders, I would have been in the know.
Also, Electoral Commission rejects calls by the opposition NDC to allow for their IT systems to be examined by an inter-party committee.
The MPP and government have started public.
And so, trying to review the IT system, we need to know the purpose for which we want to do that. But however, I must put it in public that we have nothing to hide.
We have details as the EC says this demand will be considered after the Commission presents the revised register to the political parties. Also, NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama accuses the NPP of circulating fake opinion polls, asserting that every credible poll points to an NDC victory.
The MPP and government have started publishing fake opinion polls that have no methodology. Opinion polls where you cannot find the people who did the research.
We are live in Wale Wale as he campaigns in the hometown of the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia. And later in our climate focus series, we'll tell you how Ghana is losing about 10% of its indigenous tree species due to deforestation.
There seems to be too much onslaught on the forest now from all angles. If we lose the forest and even we try to restore it, we will not get it as it used to be.
We ask, can prophecies determine which presidential candidate is voted for? We'll sample your views from the streets.
Because prophecy can't influence me, but I can influence someone in the rural area.
It's a big no to me. I'm a student of politics and I'll leave spiritual matters to spiritualists.
And in business?
Rising food prices push September inflation to 21.5%, with items like yam, tomatoes and onions driving the spike.
In sports,
Asante Kotoko climbed to second place in the Ghana Premier League after a win over Nswatriman.
My name is Faustina Safan. I'm doing this with...
my name is Evans Mensa. I will be taking your views and comments here on Newsnight. 055 1111997 is the WhatsApp line. Details after this. You're still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world. 055 1111997. And just yesterday, Organized Labour declared that indefinite nationwide strike beginning from the 10th. And tonight, we're hearing from other unions here uniting now to say they will be joining. The latest being the GPRTU. What more are we learning tonight from TUC itself, Osti?
Indeed, Evans, more labor unions are declaring their readiness to lay down their tools to put pressure on government to declare a state of emergency on illegal mining. Already, we know that the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, the National Association of Teachers, NAT, the Media Coalition Against Galamsey have all declared their support for the indefinite nationwide strike declared by Organized Labour on Tuesday after the expiration of a one-month ultimatum to government. We know that TUC and other unions have been demanding the revocation of LI 2462 and also the declaration of a state of emergency on all illegal mining activities. Well, my colleague MF Adeti engaged the Deputy Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Kwabna Yanko Otu, who says since the declaration of the strike yesterday, they are yet to hear from government.
Nothing has changed. So we are still in preparation to undertake the strike come 10th of October 2024.
Well, so between yesterday and today, have you seen any intention from the government to want to engage you on any form?
No, not any that I have seen. And I'm not sure any of our leaders have seen anything. They have not communicated anything personally to me. But if they have done so with other leaders, I would have been in the known.
Now, should government decide to engage in any way, are you still going to go on a strike even if they like to meet you halfway?
Okay, so we outline a number of demands. Okay, we expect that government fully accede to all those demands. But of course, we are also a body that does engagement a lot. And we are open for engagement. At the end of the day, our objective is to ensure or to see that Galamsey, particularly in forest reserves and the water bodies, are brought to a complete halt. Then after that, we can have a discussion on the broader question of mining and its impact on the Ghanaian society, particularly on the things that matter to us, forests and water, for example.
And so you say the forest and the water, where you like as a reserve, described as reserve, should not be touched in any way. And that's, at least if government is able to do that one, you're looking to consider or reconsider the date, the 10th of October?
Yeah, we are. But, I mean, so the objective is not merely to strike for the sake of striking. The objective is to end Galamsey.
Well, organized labor also demanded the revocation of LI 2462. But the big question really is that Parliament is currently on recess with the 8-day ultimatum now, and the countdown is still on. Parliament won't be back before the expiration of that 10th October deadline. So what happens? This is Dr. Otu's suggestion to government.
I also know that in invoking emergency powers, you can do it and later get to Parliament. So you don't need to do the other way around. But, I mean, just come to think of it, that as far back as 2001, when civic action, people were already talking about illegal mining, there was a conscious attempt to prevent mining in forest reserves. Then in 2017, government and the president put its presidency online to fight Galamsey illegal mining, and it's then become very surprising that some 2, 3, 4 years down the line, 2022, we now could pass a legislative instrument that formally allow mining in the forest reserves. It's difficult to understand why, and we think that legal or illegal, small scale or large scale, mining should not be allowed in a forest reserve, and it should not be allowed on water bodies. Now, even the big mines that are mined, they also have impact on water bodies. So they now have the capability to direct the course of water around rivers. And I think somebody, maybe from the Water Resource Commission or somebody, should be able to tell us what are the impact when those big mining companies are able to do certain things. What are the impact? I mean, just travel across the country. Our rivers are dying. And I think at this point in time, it's all about what we can do collectively to revive those rivers, but also to preserve our forests.
Well, tonight, the biggest transport union, the Ghana Private Roads Transport Union, GPRTU, and their counterparts, the Concerned Drivers Association, are the latest to fully declare their readiness to join the industrial action by organized labor. Let's listen to the Public Relations Officer of GPRTU, Ibrahim Abbas Moro, and the Public Relations Officer of the Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana, David Aguado.
Come on the 10th, all GPRTU nationwide will lay down our tools. Nobody will work.
How many drivers are we talking about as far as the GPRT is concerned?
My brother, as many as you could count, because we operate all over the 16 regions. Undisputedly, we are the leading transport operators as well. And I strongly believe we are not doing this for GPRTU, but we are doing this for Ghana. As long as the Galamsey issue keep destroying our water bodies and creating problems for anybody who consumes any water in that condition, then means nationwide. By coming out again, don't expect only GPRTU. You expect all transport operators as well.
And so on the 10th, almost tens of thousands of drivers under GPRTU who sit at home, they will not put their cars on the road.
Yes, if nothing changes, that's exactly what everybody should expect.
No movement across the country.
Until otherwise. On the 10th of this very October, no vehicle is moving. We will sit down and demonstrate. We will not move our vehicle. We will not let anybody, any petrol truck or long-distance vehicle move in the country.
So I get the sense that on the 10th of October, there will be no commercial vehicle on the street across the country to pick passengers from one point to the other.
Exactly so. If organized labor and TUC are doing this to save Mother Ghana, we will all join hands by parking our cars as the whole nation. This is not Obienya issue.
What's the number of drivers we are talking about in this association, and which part of the country will be affected?
This is 16 regions. Even if concerned drivers, we have a region. Even in a region, we have only 500 drivers in a region. 16 regions. We are talking of a huge number of drivers that are parking.
We can bring in now the National Labour Commission. The law requires that organised labour must notify if indeed you plan to embark on a strike such as this. There's a stipulated time within which they must do so. Fusa Samoa, Executive Secretary, joins us right now. Thank you, sir, for your time. I wonder if you've received notification from organised labour on this planned indefinite strike from the 10th. Hello, Mr. Samoa. Okay, I don't seem to have him on the line. I will try and get him back just to understand that, because the legal processes laid out for all public sector workers to follow if they plan to embark on a strike. I want to establish if that has happened. But as we speak tonight, we know that at least TUC has said that this is going to happen under their watch. We have heard from the GPRTU. And before the strike was announced, we know other private sector players and industry players have announced that they will also be joining. The key question then is, how is private sector going to enforce this strike from the 10th, particularly journalists? We're waiting for some clarity from the GJA on this, but the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission is on with us. Mr. Samar, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to have you. I wonder if you have received notification from organised labour public sector workers that they are, going on an indefinite strike from the 10th.
Yeah, but they have not received any formal communication or notification from them.
But you've heard the announcement. What's your?
Yes, we have heard the announcement and we have taken judicial notice of it. Except that the government and the private sector against whom the strike is directed have also not complained.
Sorry, I may have lost you there briefly. You said they are also not cooperating?
We haven't received any complaint from the government and the private sector against whom the strike is directed. They are workers who are going to restrain themselves from going to work.
Unfortunately, we have a terrible connection to him. We'll try and re-establish connection, and hopefully we can get him on a better line so we can hear his point on this particular subject. But I want to hear from you. Will you be joining that strike on the 10th of October? Please share your thoughts with us on WhatsApp 055-1111-997. You've heard organised labour declare this indefinite strike, and they want all of you to join them on that day for the strike. So will you be laying down your tools on that day? I'll share a few of your thoughts with the rest of the world pretty shortly. So live here on Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, the National Association of Graduate Teachers has expressed strong dissatisfaction with what it describes as a rampant and unjust interdiction of its office holders, particularly heads of senior high schools. NAGRA President Enjo Kabano has called for the reinstatement of head mistresses of the Ahantaman Girls High School in Sekendi and St. Rose's Senior High School in Equatia. Now, the two were told by the Ghana Education Service to step down while being investigated for allegedly taking unauthorized monies from their students. But the interdicted head teachers, according to Angel Kabonu, are not guilty of the accusations and should be reinstated immediately.
As we speak, the headmistresses of Ahankaman Senior High School and the headmistress of the Roses Senior High School in Abuja have been interdicted by the management of the Ghana Education Service. And the reason for their interdiction is simply because they have been accused of unlawfully collecting money from students and parents contrary to the rules and regulations of the Ghana Education Service. So they are on interdiction. And when we look at the details of the interdiction, we realize that these headmistresses, hard-working headmistresses, have not been treated fairly. So we are calling on the management of the Ghana Education Service to reinstate them to their position so that they can continue to do their work. When monies are collected by these PE, it doesn't mean that the money is being collected by the head of the school and the money is going into the pocket of the head of the school. That is absolutely wrong. I've asked for the immediate reinstatement of the head of these heads of the schools. So we are watching, and we hope good sense will prevail for peace and harmony to prevail in our schools.
And that there is Angel Kabonu, who has been speaking to us on the interdictions as we've seen it today. We'll bring you more on that subsequently. Still live here on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. And I'll be sharing with you a few of your thoughts on our social media platforms right now. And keep them coming, 055 11 997 pretty shortly.
Well, let's do some other stories now, and this time we'll tell you about YEA and why they're in the news tonight. Well, we have been hearing from organized labor. It's time to put our attention now on the Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Agency, because he is demanding an immediate suspension of the management services contract between the agency and Zoomlion. YEA has a contract with Zoomlion to manage hundreds of sanitation workers across the country who sweep the streets and other public spaces. The government says Zoomlion is being paid 850 cedis per sweeper through YA, from which the company pays the sweepers 250 Ghana cedis and keeps 600 Ghana cedis as management and logistics fees. Now, some of these sweepers have not been paid for more than a year, prompting the YA to demand a review of the arrangement. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me in the studio with more details of a letter from YA CEO to the board of the agency. Kweku, what is the background to this letter from the YA?
So, Faustina, this is actually referenced in that letter that we have seen from Kofi Japan, the YA CEO, to the board. He writes that, quote, at the meeting held on Wednesday, 29th May 2024, the board of the agency proposed some amendments to the management services agreement between the Youth Employment Agency and Messrs. Zoomlion Ghana Limited. In a letter dated 31st May 2024, the agency sent a proposal to Zoomlion for their acceptance or otherwise.
I'm quite interested in this proposed amendment by YA to Zoomlion. What was the response of Zoomlion according to this letter we have seen?
So we understand that YA had proposed that out of the 850 cedis paid to Zoomlion per sweeper, YA wanted to directly pay the 250 cedis meant for the sweepers directly to the sweepers and then pay the remainder to Zoomlion as their fees. But Zoomlion are opposed to this arrangement according to the letter. To quote directly, it says, at the meetings held on 8th July 2024 in person and 26th July 2024 virtual, Messrs. Zoomlion Ghana Limited vehemently opposed the proposal for, quote, the agency to take over the payment of beneficiaries' allowance upon the expiration of the 6-month extension period and strongly insisted again that, quote, the agency renews the contract to enable them secure credit facilities from financial institutions before beneficiaries of the modules will be paid the outstanding allowances.
Quick, with the YACO, he also speaks about how hundreds of these sweepers have not been paid, and he calls for an immediate suspension of the arrangement. Expatiate on that for me.
The letter says, quote, respectfully, it must be highlighted that Zoom Lion has failed to pay beneficiaries allowances for over 1 year, resulting in some beneficiaries engaging in strike actions and picketing around some regional and district offices of the agency to demand the outstanding monthly allowances. Pursuant to the above, management humbly proposes that the module should be suspended forthwith for the various MMDAs to take over the cleaning of the streets till a clear direction of management on this is proposed in a meeting with the Ministry of Finance to find solutions on resolving the outstanding beneficiaries' allowances. This is the letter that was actually sent from the YACU to the board of the agency.
Thank you, Kweku Asante.
Indeed, we can speak to the Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs at Zoom Lion Ghana, Emma Adjoa-Pia Osaidia, joins us on the line right now. Emma, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much.
Is it true that you haven't paid some of the sweepers for more than a year?
We have been here again.
Is it true that you haven't paid some of the sweepers for up to a year?
We haven't paid some of the sweepers, but it is not up to a year.
How long has it been?
We have not paid them for, I think, 9 months, because we have paid 4 months each person.
Why haven't you paid them for 9 months?
Say again.
Why haven't you paid them for
Say
9
again, 359.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Why haven't you paid them? Why haven't you paid them for 9 months?
Okay. The contract is such that we will have to pre-finance the payment for some time before it is reimbursed. So we have done that for a couple of quarters. And there is discussion going on between us and the owners of the contract regarding the reimbursement.
So you haven't paid the sweepers because government has not paid you?
This line.
Can you hear me?
Please say it again.
I'm just clarifying. You haven't paid these sweepers for 9 months because government hasn't paid you yet?
We haven't paid them because we are still having discussions with our partners.
When you say partners, clarify.
The owners of the contract, the YEA.
Of course, that's government. So YEA hasn't paid you. They owe you.
I am saying that there is a discussion between our authorities and the YEA regarding the contract. So that is the cause of a hold-up.
Okay, so what are you discussing about the contract? What about the contract has been discussed that is holding this up?
The entire contract.
What about it, specifically?
I will not be able to give you specifics. That is why I said the entire contract, please.
Has the contract been suspended?
No. Not that I know of, please.
You paid the sweepers from this YEA letter 250 cedis, although government pays you through YEA 850. So you take home 600 cedis. Is that even conscionable?
We do not take home 600 cedis. If you have had hold of the contract document, you will see the breakdown of that total amount of 8. Owners of the contract, how much goes to the beneficiaries, and they also are responsible for the payment for the logistics. That is also the thing. And they also pay us for our management of the contract.
So how much do you pay the sweepers?
That is the amount stated in the document you mentioned, that 258. the amount that goes to the sweepers.
So the sweepers, you pay them 250 cedis.
That is what we are assigned to pay.
You assign them, or YEA did assign that to the sweepers?
YEA assigns them to us, and we assign them the areas they have to work.
But you make the decision to pay the sweepers 250 cedis?
No, we do not.
So
YEA decides, and it is stated in the contract. Both parties agree and signed.
So you're saying that is YEA's decision to pay the sweepers 250 cedis?
Yes, because they give us the men to work with, and we sit with them to negotiate with the rates that they bring up. We have, even on our own, over the years, proposed for an upliftment in the payment for the beneficiaries since we started doing this contract.
You made that proposal.
We have done this review twice.
You made a proposal to YEA to increase how much the sweepers are paid.
Yes.
And the YEA's response to that was?
When we first started, they were taking something around, which is equivalent to today's 50 cedis. We did a proposal, and that went through. It was the amount was moved from 50 to, I've forgotten the amount. It's been so long. And we did another one to move to the present amount.
You agree, don't you, that paying sweepers 250 cedis is simply unacceptable? It's just dehumanizing.
And that's the reason why I have given you instances where we have initiated a request for an increase in the amount that goes to the.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'll find a place and park. I am in traffic right now.
The YEA is demanding an immediate suspension of the management services contract between yourself, between the YEA itself and you. Have you taken a decision on that? Is that a legitimate demand?
I have not cited that document, please.
Well, we have, and I'm telling you, that's their demand, that that contract be suspended.
All right. So when it comes to us, management will take a decision.
Thank you very much. And that there is the corporate communications manager with Zoom Lion there on that controversial subject of Zoom Lion, how much is paying the sweepers, and she's providing her own clarity on this. We'll get the YEA's view on this particular matter. The Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs of Zoom Lion, Emma Adjo-Apia, hearing us. And apologies for the terrible connection at times in this particular interview. We'll get some clarity from the YEA pretty shortly on the claims made there. But George Yafe is joining me with business here on Newsnight. I will be sharing with you some thoughts from WhatsApp pretty shortly. And many of you are already joining us with these thoughts. 05511119997. Particularly, will you be joining that nationwide strike that has been declared by organized labor beginning from the 10th of October? Here are a few of your views on that. This one from Nana J says the evidence is now clear. The so-called Penkro community mining launched forcefully by the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister is indeed Galamsey, as the farmers have always said. Kofi Siedu Konongo says if the government cannot hold Galamsey amidst the public outcry, then Ghanaians should vote them out. Samina Dabraka says, yes, I will join. We have gotten here because of poor leadership. Never again should the presidency be reduced this low. Joe from Circle says, I'm fully in support of the impending strike action if that is the only language the president understands. Nana Kwamwa says, I will join any demo. That there are better ways organized labor can. I will not, he says, I will not join any demo. There are better ways organized labor can use to drum home their demand. And Sam in Laboni says, can we also call on parliamentarians to make statements on Stop Galamsey now? Or maybe those of them who support the banning of illegal mining must come out. They are our representatives in the various constituencies, and we must therefore demand of them to stop Galamsey. A few of your thoughts there. And George Yafe is joining me right now, and he is firmly in support of the Stop Galamsey crusade. George.
Well, Evans, items like tomatoes, yam, and onions pushed September inflation to 21.5%. We'll be getting you more details on the bulletin. And Ghana Revenue Authority to establish a marine unit to help fight smuggling along the country's water bodies. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, rising prices of foodstuffs pushed September inflation rate to new levels. The Ghana Statistical Service pushed the rate at 21.5%. Tomatoes, yam, and onions were some of the food items that spike that were recorded. James Shen has the rest of the story.
Before the current increase, inflation had gone down for 5 consecutive months. The report revealed that inflation on locally produced items and imported items also increased. Inflation on imported items increased to 17% from 16.1% in August, whereas locally produced items recorded an inflation of 23.4% from 22.2% in August 2024. Here is government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Enim.
In the month of September 2024, year-on-year rate of inflation stood at 21.5%, indicating that between September 2023 and September 2024, the average price levels of goods and services went up by 21.5%.
With the increase in food inflation to 22.1% from 19.1% in August, Professor Samuel Kobina-Enim urged government and other stakeholders to address seasonality challenges.
We're hoping that going forward we can address these seasonalities, as it's one of the, I would say, topical issues in the PFJ2 document, to ensure that as a country, seasonality does not influence the production of our agricultural products.
Restaurant and accommodation services recorded 27.9%, whereas alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics recorded 27.6%. Also, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels recorded 26.4%, education services at 23.7%, and health recorded 22.3%, as well as food and non-alcoholic beverages also recorded 22.1%. The items recorded higher inflation than the overall rate of inflation of 21.5% for September 2024. James Chen's report for Joy Business.
To other stories, Guinness Ghana Breweries has ruled out passing on the rising cost of operations to consumers. There are fears that the brewery giant will be forced to increase prices again due to the recent hikes in tea tariffs and the exchange rate shocks. But speaking at the Ghana Stock Exchange Facts Behind the Figures program, Managing Director Felicity Sean says that there's a limit that they can pass on these costs to consumers.
We also implemented price increase, but there's also an extent to which we can increase price as we look at the how much more the consumers are willing to pay. So we do a lot around ensuring that we reduce our cost of operating. We know exactly where we have the biggest impact. So that's why all the productivity work streams that are in place are there to ensure that we reduce and we mitigate the impact as much as possible.
Felicity Son is the Managing Director of Guinness Ghana Breweries. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority is working with the Ghana Armed Forces to establish a marine unit for the Customs Division. The move is expected to support fight smuggling along the country's maritime boundaries. Now, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Julia Sion, believes that this will strengthen the security of the various border posts. She made this disclosure when the Chief of Staff paid a courtesy call at the headquarters of the Ghana Revenue Authority here in Accra.
From securing our borders against illegal trade and smuggling to supporting one another in times of national emergency, we are hoping that the election will not become a national emergency, but these are some of the areas that we collaborate. We have seen, CDS, at first hand how our partnership has contributed to national security and economic growth. The Armed Forces has supported us, GRA, in so many several ways over the years to mobilize revenue for national development. Currently, the authority is collaborating with the Ghana Armed Forces to establish a customs marine unit, as well as developing strategic partnerships to fight smuggling that we continue to see across our borders. I must say, these collaborations are working so well.
Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Julia, is here. Now, Delta Airlines has introduced a new Airbus A330-900 aircraft on its New York-Accra, New York route today. The new aircraft will add approximately 30% more capacity. Now, speaking to Joy Business at the launch of this new flight, Director of Global Communications at Delta Airlines for Europe, Middle East and Africa and India, Rafael Elbas, assured customers of excellent services.
This aircraft is 25% more fuel efficient than the aircraft that it replaces. So in terms of fuel, we use less, which also means that we are less heavy with fuel when we take off, which means that one of the reasons why the cargo capacity is up so much more. Our maximum takeoff weight is higher, but also we need less fuel, which is always a good thing. And then in terms of price, I would really like to focus on the value that we offer to the passengers. And we have a great value proposition on this aircraft with premium seats, ambient lighting, and just the warmth and the comfort of the Delta flight attendants that you're already used to from us. Our future, this is one big step in terms of 30% additional capacity. Then we fly as well to Senegal, and we fly to Lagos. We fly to Johannesburg in South Africa, and we recently opened Cape Town. So this is the key cities in Africa for us at this moment, but we are continuously evaluating, looking at economic growth figures, looking where the demand is, and we will continuously evaluate and make decisions on the basis of that.
Director of Global Communications at Delta Airlines for Europe, Middle East, Africa and India, Ralph Albers. Macau Bank has given the firm assurance that it remains committed to supporting communities in which it operates as well as other sectors. To this end, the 2003-2024 batch of the National Service Personnel at the bank has successfully completed the renovation and expansion of a 6-unit classroom block at New Sowajan Basic School located at Shalibuchi here in Accra. Let's hear from Andy Apienwasi. He is head of people and culture at CalBank.
And being an indigenous bank, we see it as a responsibility to really be, a responsible business and then collaborate with the communities we operate in. So, this Sowadin school is very close to our branch here in Asalibuche, and we operate in this community. And to see a school building in such a, deplorable state, felt that we could be able to help. So this 6-unit classroom was under construction, was abandoned and wasn't done. We've extended it and made it into a 6-block classroom so that the kids can have a conducive environment to learn and then deliver quality education to these people.
Andy Apienwasi is head of people and culture at CalBank. To the stock market, if you're a shareholder in ETA EcoBank Transnational Incorporated, is up by 10 pesos. For you guys out there. That's all for business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, George. And Cranton is here with sports.
Let's go straight into the stories. And Asante Kotoko, they climbed to second place in the Ghana Premier League with a win over Nswatriman earlier today. Elvis Chibafo's 47th minute strike was a difference maker in Kotoko's 1-0 win. The victory sees Kotoko extend their unbeaten run in this season and are now just a point away from league leaders Mediama. Elsewhere, defending champions FC Samatex, they were held to a 1-1 draw at home against BBNE Gold Stars. The UEFA Champions League Match Day 2 action continues later today with our commentary game live on Hits 103.9 FM featuring Lille against Real Madrid. That's all for sports. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's do some other stories now. A new training initiative is equipping conservation practitioners and managers with innovative approaches to preserve and rejuvenate Ghana's endangered tree species and their natural habitat. Now, over 10% of the country's indigenous tree species are at risk, making the development of effective conservation and restoration tactic in their native environments a pressing necessity. In our Climate Focus series today, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin explores the critical need for novel methods to restore and protect Ghana's forest.
1/5 of the Earth's land surface is degraded, affecting the well-being of over 3 billion people. There is a crucial need to restore 1.5 billion hectares of land by 2030. Etuahene Yako from the Resource Management Support Center of the Forestry Commission reflects on the past 20 years.
The forest was in a far better state as we are seeing today. We are supposed as Forestry Commission to be improving on what is there. but there seems to be too much onslaught on the forest now from all angles. By nature, we are suffering from wildfires and others, and then we also have people attacking the forest in terms of harvesting and illegal mining.
Yao emphasizes the importance of forest protection.
If we lose the forest and even we try to restore it, we can never get it back to its original state. When you destroy that one and you plant, you are putting in together maybe maximum 10 species in maybe a square hectare, in a hectare of land. But if you take a typical tropical forest, you can have over 650 plant species within that area that we are talking of. So you will be reducing the quality of the forest. Although you will try to put some trees back, you will not get it as it used to be. So it's important, first, we protect the forest by not destroying them, and then the little that maybe will be destroyed will have to be planted back.
It's focused around
Dr. Rosie Trevelyan, director of the Tropical Biological Association, says interventions are crucial for ensuring healthy and functional forests in Ghana. Meanwhile, INEC Ghana has already restored 120 hectares of degraded land, with plans to restore an additional 240 hectares in 2024 using native species. David Kwarteng serves as the executive director of the organization.
We are using the community approach through agroforestry, where the communities get the opportunity to plant crops and then to be able to feed their families, whilst they take care of the trees that we have planted. And so far, we are seeing tremendous improvement in the tree cover.
Organizations such as Arocha Ghana and Goshen Global Vision are leading various initiatives aimed at environmental protection through sustainable practices.
My name is Hobson Eli Etra. I work with Arocha Ghana as the Chibi Landscape Manager. As part of the Franklina project, we are looking at 19 species that are endangered, 3 species that are endangered, and how to strengthen their needs and their use in the communities. We are engaging with the communities to identify these species. We are engaging with the communities to monitor the phenologies of these species when they are fruiting, when they are seeding, that they help to collect the seeds and do the propagation.
Forest protectors are urged to undo the damage caused by Ghanaian communities, giving their children and future generations a chance at a better future.
It is the responsibility of all of us to protect the forest and then also to restore it, because that is what, especially if you are a Christian, we all believe that is what God told our forefathers, Adam and Eve, to do in the garden, that we should manage the natural environment that He has given us.
A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
And you're still live here on Newsnight. This is your election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants AICPA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development.
Well, tonight, the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama is accusing the NPP and the government of fabricating fake opinion polls, stating that all credible opinion polls have predicted that the NDC would win the 2024 general election. Well, these remarks come as he intensifies his campaign, taking it to Dr. Bawumia's home region, Northeast, where the NDC has vowed to defeat the NPP presidential candidate in his own backyard.
Have given us the assurance that they are going to change the government on 7th December 2024 and bring the NDC back to come and continue the good work that we were doing when we had the reins of government. all the credible opinion polls have predicted that NDC is going to win. And so because of that, the MPP and government have started publishing fake opinion polls that have no methodology, opinion polls where you cannot find the people who did the research. And so ignore all those fake opinion polls. Everything indicates, and every credible institution, Economic Intelligence Unit, Fish Solutions, Global Info Analytics, every proper credible opinion poll shows that NDC is going to win the election.
Maxwell Agbawa joins us live from the Northeast region. Maxwell, he also assured Muslims in the country that an extra Eid holiday would be granted under a future NDC government. Tell us more.
Yes, exactly. He says that he expressed concerns actually about how the unpredictability of the moon sighting has prevented Muslims from fully enjoying their holidays. He also said that the cost of embarking on the Hajj pilgrimage when NDC was in power, it cost just 11,000 cedis and now costs a little over 70,000 cedis, promising to reduce the cost, make it easier for Muslims to embark on that pilgrimage.
Thank you, Maxwell Agbawa. Let's take you now to the camp of the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, who has been touring the Western North region. He's been gauging feedback from chiefs and people there on pragmatic ways to implement his bold solutions when elected, should he be elected into power. Now in Seshi Wiosu, the chief of Seshi and the Krontihini of Seshi Wiosu Traditional Council, Nana Ofori Ahinkan II, promised to reward government for the laudable projects that they have executed in the area.
Sesiano campaign, and Yamikura American campaign amawo more policies and the munyuma already no aya campaign namamo. And no I call Kunji Abofie Sahimangura or Meati Asiase what da na yabetu ama boom 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 boom. This opportunity to say a big thank you to Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia for coming to Bonsai. We never thought this day was going to happen, but he has made it happen. We thank you so much. We thank the MPP government for helping us with the road construction for both Draboso and Bonsai town roads. Thank you so much.
Well, President Akufo-Addo has also been pledging his commitment to ensure free, fair and peaceful elections. According to him, he has no interest in subverting the will of the people. He has been speaking in a meeting with the clergy, Muslim clerics and chiefs in the Upper West region.
Everything is going to be done by my government and myself to make sure that the elections of December 7th are going to be free, fair and transparent. Everybody with the power of the vote and the thumb will have a say in determining who will be the next president and who will be the next member of parliament in your area. That is the beauty of democracy. The opportunity that is given to everybody to express themselves and to determine who best can respond to their preoccupation. As president, I cannot impose anybody on you. I don't have the power and I don't have the interest. I want the decision, just as I was elected. The next person to stand here in my shoes will also be elected by the people of Ghana. That as an 80-year-old man who has been a two-term president of Ghana and who has been involved in a lot in most of Ghana's recent history, certainly in the history of the Fourth Republic. I'm in a good position to advise who should come and stand in my shoes. I believe that the best person to do that is the MPP flag bearer, my vice president, Mahamadou Bawumia.
That's the president there. And Fosi, do you believe in prophecies?
I do, actually.
What about if it has to do with elections?
Well, not actually.
Okay.
Because that would not influence my vote. And that's why we've been finding out from you what exactly would influence your vote. Because 2024 has turned out to be no exception. Prophecies are pouring out, and the onslaught of prediction about who would lead Ghana to the promised land over the next 4 years has already begun. But can that influence your vote? We took to the streets to find out.
I don't think prophecy should tell me who I should vote for. I should go and vote for. That is what I can see. Because me, prophecy can't influence me, but I can influence someone in the rural area or someone who is not educated. And my pastor can tell me who to go and vote for. So me, for instance, I don't think prophecy can influence me to go and vote for anybody.
Don't
vote based on who your pastor recommends. Vote for someone who you believe can change the situation in the nation.
For a prophet to manipulate the outcome of an election is a big no to me. I'm a student of politics and I'll leave spiritual matters to spiritualists. But if you are looking at the election, you have to look at the dynamics and the elements of the election. They decide the outcome of the election.
Spiritual analysis as far as elections are concerned there. And Fosti, that's it for News Night tonight.
It is. And Anima joins us in the studio.
Hello, people.
What should we expect tonight?
How are you? Are you considering prophecy for election or...
No, actually.
No?
Well, I don't believe in prophecies for elections.
Right. Evans, you?
No.
Okay, anyways. So, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're getting into all the breast disease and the issues that have to do. This is the month where, you want to be, squeezing your wife's breast to check. And it can be a very pleasurable month. But seriously, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we want to bring, some light on...
Where's your pink though?
On breast. It's under my black.
Good place for it to be, actually.
Yeah. So anyway, we're having a conversation on breast cancer. You know that breast cancer also affects men. A lot of times we focus on the women, but this month we'll also be talking about how breast cancer affects men and supporting men through their breast cancer struggles. So we start tonight.
Okay. Stick your stay.